the Data on Kubernetes community's 151st live stream. We actually did the 150th earlier today with Julian. Shout out to Julian from Any9s. But now we're coming in with a different topic. I was talking to the speaker before we got started. A topic that, it's good for us to be addressing because, oftentimes in the Data on Kubernetes community, we might get a little bit stuck in the database and storage dichotomy. It's very, very nice to break out of that. And that's exactly what we're going to be doing today, learning about Apache Superset and Clickhouse, looking at all the goodness that comes with analytics, visualization, and other awesome things like that. Before we get started, also want to drop the link. If you have not registered for Data on Kubernetes Day yet in Detroit, you can do so. It's very easy. It's just 100% free if you're going to be adding it to your KubeCon schedule. If you're going to be attending in person, a couple different things there about registration. So take a look at the link. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask us on Slack. That being said, we are joined today by an amazing speaker from ChistaDATA, hot new company in the data space. Definitely check them out. His name is Vijay. Vijay, how are you doing? Oh, let's see. I think we may have got disconnected briefly, but he will be joining us. Oh, it's okay. He's going to be joining us quite soon. No worries there, folks. This is live TV, the magic of doing things live and direct. While we're waiting for Vijay to get back on, I just wanted to also share that our research report, the second version of our research report, will be coming out very soon. If you did not see the first one, all right, I'm just going to share the link right here as well too, so you can get access to that. Definitely check that out because, like I said, the additional research report is going to be coming out before KubeCon. All right, so you can expect to see that a couple weeks before DOK Day on October 24th. But like I said, the research report, we interviewed 500 organizations last year to see their opinions about the opportunity and challenges of running stateful workloads on Kubernetes. We've repeated that study this year, no spoilers, but the results are very positive, finding out some interesting things about the different things that organizations are perceiving when it comes to where we're at now. A lot happens in a year when it comes down to it, particularly in the Kubernetes ecosystem and the cloud native world. And so the Data on Kubernetes world is certainly no exception. Lots of things going on. You've seen it through the many, many live streams that we've done, the different folks that we've had on with us sharing their ideas and experiences. So like I said, very much looking forward to that. Just another thing about the event in Detroit on October 24th, it will be in person and we'll be live streaming everything from there. So if you're going to be in Detroit, please let us know. And if you can stop by, it'd be great. We've got a limited space. We're already about 50% of the space. In-person seats are occupied. So get your tickets as soon as you can. And like I said, if you have any questions about registration, just let us know. Let's see. Very good. It looks like Vijay is coming back. So this is good. We've done 150 live streams and we've seen a little bit of everything. Another initiative that we want to let folks know about is the Dok Explorers Initiative. And if you are not familiar with the landscape that we launched in the previous KubeCon, please take a look. Also drop the link to that here. You can see all the different technologies that are being featured in the Data on Kubernetes ecosystem. And so as that ecosystem grows out, we will be seeing more and more technologies that will be featured there. And the Dok Explorers Initiative is a way for folks to get hands-on experience working with these technologies. So we have people with different backgrounds that want to get their hands dirty, they want to see how these things actually work when they're installed on, on their computers and configured and running, and then be able to give feedback about, what they've learned, perhaps some of the challenges they may have had in order to give constructive feedback so that these things can improve. So like I said, if you're interested in knowing more about that, very, very easy. We've got a Slack group just focused on that, the Dok Explorers channel. And so you're more than welcome to check that out. And you can expect to be hearing more about that as we get closer to Dok Explorers Day, which will be on October 11th. So mark your calendars for that as well. Got a very, very full stack of speakers that are going to be participating, as well as some of the newer members in our community that'll be sharing the hands-on knowledge they're acquiring. Vijay, are you back?
Yes.
Yes, he is. Good to have you back. So
thank you.
We now have a lot of expectations about who you are. Tell us, Vijay, tell us about your experience, how you got started working with in this data ecosystem, your experience with analytics, and also Kubernetes.
Yes. So I started as a Python developer, and when I was working in one of my previous companies, we did a small POC on analytics databases. So we explored multiple options like Druid, ClickHouse, and MariaDB column store. So that's how I got introduced to this exciting world of data. So then we decided to go with Clickhouse, and it was in the year 2019, and Clickhouse was quite young at that time. So that's how it started. So we had to do a lot of self-learning, a lot of exploration, go through the documentation, etc. So, and then I slowly got myself into Clickhouse. And then recently I joined ChistaDATA, which is a managed service provider for Clickhouse.
Very, very good. That being said, today we're going to be talking about Apache Superset. What's the story with that?
Okay, so it was there is a story behind that. So when I was exploring Clickhouse, the one of the requirement was to integrate seamlessly with any visualization platform or any application. So at the time, since I was a Python developer, Superset had was also predominantly written in Python. So it was quite easier for me to integrate Clickhouse with Superset, and then I was able to generate visualizations in no time. And that was quite impressive, considering that other visualization platforms had a lot of it had some learning curve, and it took some time to set up, and a lot of things to explore from the documentation. And Superset was quite lightweight visualization tool. So that's how we got introduced to Superset.
Very, very good. That being said, if you want to get started with your presentation, also got a demo we're going to be checking out later. Go right ahead and do that. And folks, if you're joining us on YouTube, remember you can leave your questions in the chat and we will get to them accordingly. So Vijay, it's all yours.
Sure, I'll start sharing my screen.
Okay. Perfect.
Hope my screen is visible, right?
Yes, yes, it is.
All right, I'll get started. So hello all, welcome to this talk on analytics with Apache Superset and Clickhouse. And a special thanks to Bart and Dok community for organizing this. I'm really happy and excited to be part of this wonderful and healthy community. So let's get started. So this is the agenda for today's talk. I'll give a brief introduction about Clickhouse for those who are new to Clickhouse. And then we'll go through the features of Apache Superset. And then I'll give a small demo on integrating Superset and Clickhouse, which is already running on Kubernetes. And I'll create a sample chart and sample dashboards in Superset. So this demo is not going to take a lot of time. I'll try to keep it simple and informative as well, just to demonstrate how easy it is to work with Superset and Clickhouse. So to introduce myself, I'm currently working as a database administrator at ChistaDATA. You can reach out to me in LinkedIn. And previous to this, I have worked at multiple organizations as a developer and a database administrator. I've authored a book on Clickhouse, and I would identify myself as an open source enthusiast. So I keep track of multiple open source projects. And I'm into Docker and Kubernetes recently, and I'm learning Docker and Kubernetes on the job. So that's a brief about myself. And I live in Chennai, which is in the southeastern part of India, and it's a coastal city. So this is about myself. So let's get into introduction to Clickhouse. So Clickhouse is an open source database management system. It is optimized for analytical workloads. So it can handle petabytes of data in few seconds. So there is a website dedicated for Clickhouse benchmarks, comparing Clickhouse with other prominent and famous database systems and OLAP systems. So Clickhouse development was started by Yandex, and more recently it was spun off as a separate organization called Clickhouse Incorporated. And one of the major feature or the benefit of Clickhouse would be its feature-rich SQL. Clickhouse has a few hundreds of inbuilt functions, so we don't have to invent anything from scratch with respect to SQL. And its SQL is quite close to ANSI standard. So it is quite easier to learn as well. And if you have any prior experience with other databases, working with Clickhouse should be a piece of cake. And Clickhouse can be installed as a standalone server or else as a multi-node cluster. So Clickhouse supports distributed query processing, data replication, and it is easily scalable both vertically and horizontally. And Clickhouse comes with a lot of out-of-the-box packages to integrate with other prominent transactional databases like MySQL, Postgres, and event streams such as Kafka, Redpanda, and NATS. And Clickhouse is already adopted and being put into production use by a lot of companies like Walmart, Cisco, etc. And it is gaining a lot of traction in the recent years. And Clickhouse, as you know, it is being developed at a very rapid pace. So there is one release every month, and there are 2 long-term support releases per year. So this is about Clickhouse. And I'll just take a moment to introduce about my book. It is called Up and Running with Clickhouse, and it was released last November. And the initial work started around the COVID lockdown. It took around 18 months to complete this book. So it has around 280 odd pages. And this book is quite ideal for people who are new to Clickhouse or even new to database management systems. It has a lot of examples and working examples and a lot of interesting information available. So would request you to get your hands to it and provide your feedback so that I can improve this in the upcoming versions. And thanks for your patience. So I'll go back to Apache Superset. So Apache Superset is an Apache incubated project. So it has recently graduated to top level Apache project. It comes with Apache license. So it's an open source software. It is primarily used for data exploration and visualization. So with Apache Superset, you can create charts, dashboards, as well as you can connect to multiple databases, and it has an inbuilt SQL IDE. And using this SQL IDE, they call it as SQL Lab. We can connect to the database and query the data and explore the data in a superset itself. So we don't need a separate ID to connect to multiple different databases. So Superset supports almost all the prominent databases that supports SQL, and it has cloud native architecture. So it supports features such as authentication, role-based access controls, etc. And as I mentioned, it supports integration with a lot of data sources with SQL support. So Clickhouse is one among them. But apart from that, you can connect to almost every available databases with SQL support. Okay, so to perform analytics, we need data. So Clickhouse acts as a data storage backend, and Clickhouse is quite fast for analytical queries. So it is an ideal option for data backend for Apache Superset. And Apache Superset, on the other hand, it's very lightweight, and we can create charts and dashboards in no time. I mean, there are other mature projects like Grafana, etc. But one of the major benefit of Superset is it is quite easy to learn. It is even for beginners, and it is lightweight. Okay, so I'll move on to the demonstration. So in this demo, I'll okay, so I have prepared things for this demo. So we have Clickhouse, single node Clickhouse instance. and a superset instance running in Kubernetes already. And I've set things up for this demo to save time. So this is the Superset's landing page. It has very simple UI, and we don't have a lot of things here because this is a fresh installation, and we don't have a lot of charts and data. Dashboards already created, so it looks fresh. So the UI is very simple and intuitive. We have a tab for dashboards, charts, datasets, and SQL. And in SQL, we have SQL Lab. So using SQL Lab, we can execute SQL queries from Superset itself. So I'm not going to get into the administrative part of Superset. So I have set things up and running. So to integrate Clickhouse with Superset, we need to first connect Superset and Clickhouse. So to do that, we can first go to the datasets section. And in the dataset section, we can go to you have to navigate to the databases section here. And in that, we'll have to select this Add Database button. So as I mentioned, it has inbuilt support for a lot of other databases, and we have a lot of extensions to extend this Superset connectivity to a few more databases that are not listed here. Since we are going to use Clickhouse here, we're going to select the Clickhouse here, and then we'll have to provide the SQL Alchemy URI. So this depends. So the format is simple. It will be Clickhouse plus the driver name, the authentication information, followed by the host, port, and the database. So I have created this connection already while testing this. So this is the host and port details where Clickhouse is running in Kubernetes. So this is the first step. So we'll have to connect the databases in Superset. So once we save it, we can use it for a future purpose. So once we have connected a database, the next step is to connect to a dataset. So dataset is nothing but a table which is inside a database. So I'll create a dataset that will be easier for you to interpret. So we have Clickhouse, which we had recently connected. We can select the schema in Clickhouse. So we have this schema in Clickhouse. So I'm going to use the system schema. In system schema, I'm going to use this will list all the tables available in the system schema. So I'm going to use this asynchronous metrics log table. So this particular table in Clickhouse has asynchronous hardware metrics of the Clickhouse server. So it records the metrics such as CPUs, CPU frequency, temperature, etc. Periodically, and stores it in this table. So once we have identified our dataset, we can select Add Dataset and create chart. Okay, there is a dataset that already exists. Okay, we have connected to a database, and then we have created a dataset. So let's go to the SQL Lab and explore the data which is in the dataset. So we can select the database. It can be any database. So we have only Clickhouse here, but we can have multiple options based on the cluster and the databases that are available. Select the schema and the table. So once we have this, we can run the queries in this. This is the query editor, and we can execute the queries from Superset. So this will fetch the data from the Clickhouse server. So Superset doesn't have any SQL parser or any SQL dialect on its own. So whatever database that we connect, we'll have to use the same SQL dialect. So in this case, I'm using Clickhouse SQL dialect. In case if it's MySQL or Postgres, we'll have to use the appropriate SQL dialect here in this query editor. So we have these many unique metrics that are available in this in this particular table. So this is by using this SQL lab is quite helpful to navigate or to explore the data in high level. So we can look at the structure of the table, the columns, and the possible values in the tables, etc. So this is about the SQL lab. So once we are comfortable with the data, we'll, in case if you have to visualize something, we'll have to go and create a chart and visualize the data here. So these charts are already there. I'll start fresh. So once I'm inside this charts tab, I'll go to this create charts, and then we have the first step is to choose a data set. And then we have the options for charts available here. So we have multiple different charts that can be created using Superset. So I'll create a simple time series chart. So so to create a chart, we don't need it is not mandatory to know SQL. We can use the user interface to create the chart. But if the user is comfortable with the SQL, it would be even better to create complex charts based on the subqueries, etc. So I'll create a simple chart. So event time is one of the column in that asynchronous metrics log table. So I'll mark that as the time column, and I'll leave that granularity to original value. And then metrics is a column which contains the numerical values for those metrics. So in this case, I'll select the value, and we'll have to select the aggregate function here. And the dimension, we'll have to specify the column which would contain the metric name. So that would be the dimension column. Or we can also use a custom SQL instead of this thing. So knowing SQL is even better here. Then I'll add a filter here. So this is equivalent to the var class in SQL. So once I have these basic information, I can simply select create chart. So we have created our first chart here in no time. So once we are satisfied with the chart and the granularity and the filters for this chart, we can go ahead and save this chart. Before saving this, we have to give a name. We can add this chart directly to a dashboard, or we can simply save the chart without adding it to dashboard. So this chart has been saved. So we can go back to this charts tab and see the chart which was recently created and saved. So we can create as many charts as we like. We even have filters to zero drill down to the chart that we require, because in a production environment we can have hundreds of charts and it would be a tedious job to find them just simply by scrolling through the pages. So we have the search options here. And then the final step is creating the dashboards. Dashboards would hold multiple charts that are interrelated and that can provide value to the end user. So I'll select on this create dashboard. So we can either begin by creating a new chart, or we can the charts that we have created are listed on the right. So I'll give a name to this dashboard, and I can simply drag the charts and drop it here on this, and I can simply use the drag tool to resize the charts. I have a few more charts created. So once we are happy with the layout, we can hit save, and this dashboard will be saved. And we have the options to download this dashboard as an image, or we can share this dashboard by email, or we can simply copy the URL and share it with the team. So this is the dashboard which we had created. So that's all. So far we have seen how to create, how to connect Clickhouse with Apache Superset, create data sets. We explored the SQL lab in Superset. We created charts based on the Clickhouse data, and based on charts, we created a dashboard. So this is pretty simple. So once we have a working setup of Superset, it would take hardly 5 to 10 minutes to create a dashboard once we are comfortable with the data and we know what is being expected. So this is about Superset. So I've added these screenshots. So that brings to the end of this demo. And a few words about ChistaDATA before we go to the Q&A session. So it is founded by Shivaya in the year 2021. And we are providing Clickhouse consultative support, and we also are working on managed services. And we have the seed funding from Sequoia Capital, and we are growing. The team is growing fast. So this is about ChistaDATA, and as I mentioned, I'm working as a database administrator in the managed services team. So thank you for patiently listening to this talk. I'm open for questions.
Good. Thank you for patiently explaining it. There's a lot to unpack there. There are a lot of great things that are being shown. For you as someone who's been in the analytics space for quite a while, what are the things that you think that we can expect in the next 6 months to a year in terms of bringing these technologies into the Kubernetes ecosystem?
Yes. When it comes to OLAP databases, it is good to have a visualization framework within the ecosystem. So because right now they have Superset installed somewhere, and they're Superset or any other visualization tool installed somewhere, and they're trying to connect it. That creates a lot of complicated things to go through. So by bringing in this visualization inside the Kubernetes cluster of the OLAP databases, this can act as a game changer. And I see a lot of Kubernetes related activities in Superset as well. So maybe in a few months down the lane, there should be a lot of support and a lot of similar to what we have called ClickHouse operator. We should have a Kubernetes operator, and things should be fairly simple compared to what we are right now.
Very good point. And if could you stop sharing your screen really quickly, just because I'm going to share mine in a second.
Yeah.
I hear you about the operator factor, and it's something that we talk a lot about in the community. As someone who has a lot of experience in this particular area, do you think that for right now that operators are the best solution that we have, or could we expect another kind of solution in the future?
Okay, so operators, to begin with, operators are good to have for the moment, but I see a lot of active developments, and based on the customer feedback, the direction of this could evolve over a period of time. So it's quite hard to predict as of now.
Mhm. Fair enough. It makes total sense. And like you said, depending on the feedback from the customers, the use case, what situation you're in. Now, another question, I kind of mentioned this before we got started. As someone who's, because you mentioned, starting out with Docker, then getting into Kubernetes, what for you are the biggest challenges when it comes to running data on, running stateful workloads on Kubernetes? What are the things that our community could help answer that you think, questions that aren't necessarily so easy right now?
Okay, as of now, the learning curve for Kubernetes is always steep compared to Docker. So maybe the beginners could be taken aback by the features and the Kubernetes is I would say it as an ocean. It has a lot of things, a lot of features. So there are a lot of uncertainties with beginners. So, but with respect to the community, I'm actively following this in Slack. So they are quite helpful, and we get a lot of solutions from the community members very quickly. So in that perspective, the beginners or the newbies who start with Kubernetes should find the right community to get started. Without the community support, the things could be very challenging.
This is a great point. Like you said, don't treat it as a technical issue, treat it as a community-based one. Where are you going to get that support? Where are you going to find those resources, people that can help you answer those questions? That's a very good answer. Good. That being said, thank you so much for the presentation today. Directly to the point, got some nice feedback from folks in the audience. As is tradition in our community, I will be sharing, this is why I wanted to share my screen. So while you've been talking, we have an amazing artist who's in the background. His name is Angel, and he created an artistic depiction of the different things that you were talking about. So here we have his wonderful drawing that he created. We see, someone on a bicycle chasing after a data stack. Anyway, very, very well done, reflecting the Apache Superset logo. So I thought that was quite cool. But anyway, as you mentioned, the best way to get involved is to get involved. Get on Slack, ask questions, interact with people, get your questions out in the open, your doubts, anything that seems to be uncertain. But Vijay, thank you very much for your time today and look forward to having you back soon.
Sure, thank you.